This last post this week is about what are some of the ways that you can be filled? Because not everything is an Acts 2 kind of experience, or the place isn't shaken like in Acts chapter 4, that instead, how do you just normally, what's the normal way of getting filled? Because you've been designed for filling and you can go after alternative fillings. And Paul is not silent on that. He gives us a number of things, and this is not an all-inclusive list, but it's a good start. He says that you keep being filled with the Holy Spirit by speaking to one another in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, singing and making melody to your heart, making melody in your heart to the Lord. He says that we actually, as we speak to each other and as we sing and as we worship and these things have a filling effect. It's one of the reasons why when you come to church on Sunday morning and we sing these songs, and you may come in really empty and you leave more full than you did. You don't always leave completely filled up, but you do get filled by singing these songs together. And as I recall, singing that song, The Blessing, and we singing it to each other, you could feel the presence of God in the room filling us as we were singing to each other. That this is a scriptural thing, that we sing these things, and God's people are singing people. Even if you sing badly, we're singing people. Secondly, he says that we're giving thanks in everything to the Lord. That's one of the ways that the Spirit fills us, that we are giving thanks to God. And as you start to give, you get your thanker going. As you get your thanker going, you're thanking and thanking and thanking. You're tanking up. You're filling. You're being filled by the Holy Spirit. Thanksgiving is part of the way that Turkey Day. That giving thanks to God is part of the way that God has chosen to fill us. And then he says this really interesting thing. He says, submitting to one another in the fear of Christ, or in reverence to Christ, that when we are opening our lives and submitting, truly, genuinely submitting to each other, in that the Spirit of God is filling that space between. Is kind of what Martin Buber said, is that when two people get together, when two people connect in an unprotected way, that God fills the space in between. That's what's happening here. That when we submit to one another, truly from the heart, we put our guard down. We start, we fire up our relational circuitry. When we do, something powerful happens in us being filled with the Holy Spirit. So those are some reflections this week on this whole idea of being filled with the Holy Spirit. We'll see you Sunday.